What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Screen Realm. My name's Guillermo and today I'm reviewing Air, the story of Nike's game-changing deal with basketball superstar Michael Jordan, and it also marks the fifth feature film as director from Ben Affleck. The plot takes us back to the 80s and tells of how Nike executive Sonny Vaccaro, played by Matt Damon, took a massive chance on crafting a never-before-made deal for then-rookie athlete Michael Jordan. It was quite the gamble at the time. Not only would this offer to Jordan cost Nike a lot of money, the company's basketball division wasn't doing all that well at this stage, but it was also far from a sure thing, with shoe giants such as Adidas and Converse also chasing the rising star with deals of their own. Determined and with an eye on what could be, Vaccaro decided to go all in on this risky plan, which included having to convince his colleagues such as Nike co-founder Phil Knight, played by Ben Affleck. Vaccaro figured out that there was one person in particular that would have a major say on whether or not this basketball is signed, and that was Jordan's mother, Dolores Jordan, played by a great as always Viola Davis. This is a really well crafted picture from Ben Affleck and first time screenwriter Alex Convery. It's a comfy crowd pleaser, a film that almost expertly travels on the fine-tuned trajectory of the underdog story. Of course, you can argue about whether or not a company like Nike, even at this stage, needed a praise-filled story in the first place. I was surprised that the film bothered to include a moment where a character brings up certain questionable labor practices that Nike was undertaking at the time, but hey, kudos for doing so. Air is a good example of the magic of cinema. Draw up understandable characters that audiences can actually root for, place them on a satisfying, easy to understand journey, and you can win the crowd. To put it simply, the film is basically about a business deal. But the key is to make it more than that. Air is a story about people with ambition willing to take chances to succeed, so it's relatable. Like I said, understandable characters. Air keeps a tight focus on just a handful of individuals, and while they are simply drawn, they are believable. We're given just enough work-life versus personal elements to make these people convincing. Vaccaro, for example, may have a slight gambling problem, which may play a hand in his all-in approach with this work venture. He's also at a point where he needs a win in his career, as Phil Knight makes perfectly clear to him. So, character motivation is set. It's this type of measured approach to Convery's screenplay that drives the story forward. There's no information overload, there aren't too many characters to deal with, and the motivation is very logical. Plus, there's a simplified layout of the shoe marketing business. So, done. All you need now are strong performances and direction to bring to life, and well, swoosh and swoosh on both counts. Damon is great as Vaccaro, again nailing that type of everyman you can rally behind role that he's aced many times before. It's a pitch-perfect naturalistic performance, and Damon's charisma serves the character very well. After all, Vaccaro is going around his bosses to make some of these major moves, and yet a level of respect among the men remains. Damon gives the character that much-needed likability to understand why his bosses are actually putting up with his antics in the first place. And Damon is backed up by a very strong supporting cast. Ben Affleck is very good as Phil Knight, and his scenes with his real-life buddy Damon provide some of the film's best back and forths. I also found Jason Bateman to be a standout among the supporting cast, nicely underplaying his part as a marketing executive. He brings a surprising amount of emotion to his scenes, helping fuel the desire to see these guys and, well, Nike succeed. Some nice smaller parts as well for Chris Tucker, Matthew Marr, and Marlon Wayans, and Chris Messina is a lot of fun as Jordan's foul-mouthed agent David Falk, who absolutely chews it up in mostly telephone scenes. Unsurprisingly, Viola Davis owns every scene she's in. A handful of sequences, but the star's presence is major here. As Dolores Jordan, Davis is utterly convincing, playing a woman who holds steadfast whilst managing the big businesses and the suits within them that continuously circle her son. She keeps her son's and her family's best interests as the #1 priority. A bit of a factoid, that's Viola Davis's real-life husband Julius Tenen playing Jordan's father, James Jordan. Which brings me to the screen role that isn't. That of Michael Jordan himself. The legendary athlete is, of course, a major component of this story, but he isn't a major on-screen character. In fact, Affleck and company decided to avoid showing Jordan in any major character capacity on screen. Affleck has talked about the decision, saying that casting someone as Jordan on screen would have more or less distracted the audience, that giving such an iconic figure someone else's face may have taken the viewer away from the Nike story in focus, and well, yeah, I kind of get what they're saying. Unfortunately though, I found that the film's avoidance of Jordan simply was distracting in itself. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I found that the framing and the blocking was just simply too obvious. During one moment in particular towards the end, I felt like just shouting, "Hey, can you just turn the camera just an inch? He's right there." I mean, I'll admit having the Jordan character on the sidelines does work narratively speaking, but during a pivotal crescendo scene, it just reaches the point of awkward. This is a strong scene nonetheless, thanks to some solid writing and Damon in meaty speech mode, but you know, can you please turn that camera around just so we can get a Jordan reaction? Another quick factoid, by the way, Jordan himself requested that Viola Davis play his mother. I should also touch on the film's on-point period detail, including a banging 80s soundtrack that should be a winner for fans of the era's music. The soundtrack has bangers from the likes of Bruce Springsteen, Dire Straits, ZZ Top, and George Clinton, among many others. It's a really big soundtrack. Ultimately, Air is a very solid film. It confidently navigates a narrative structure that we've seen play out many times before, that's true. But the script, the performances, and Affleck's confident direction culminate in a satisfying feel-good picture. I'm giving Air 4 stars out of 5. And that's my review, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you've seen it, what did you think of the film? Haven't seen it? Are you planning to? Let me know, and as always, be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things coming from Screen Realm. Catch you soon.